Hey guys, this is IntroducingEmy, and we're back with another 100 days of making comics. I almost said web comics, I guess, whatever. And I'm actually working on a current page right now uh, with my character Glasner. I don't know why I said it like that, but yepper, so I am just kind of inking along here and working my little heart out. If you can hear a slight hum in the background, that is my air conditioner. It is just too hot to work without it. We still haven't gotten it fixed, by the way. That's like a box air conditioner, like the kind that you put in your window. I sound like a noob to air conditioners. I grew up in Pennsylvania and never had an air conditioner growing up, and then when I moved to California 5 years ago, they're everywhere, but I still like don't know all the different kinds, like the kind you put in your window, and then like the portable ones, and the kind that are like installed in your house that everybody has out here. Mostly the ones that are like it's like a vent and the machine is outside. I sound like I'm from another planet and the machine. Or like from back in time. Uh. But actually here at the place I live now, the kind of air conditioners that sit in your window we're not allowed to have, but because of our air conditioning being broken, the homeowners association that we're a part of is allowing us to have it so we don't cook and die. Our cooked corpses would be on their hands. So, yep, just drawing my characters. This guy's Roger. And I can't remember if I said this already, but I am inking in Manga Studio. I just like the way it looks and works and does and does. I'm so glad about the curve tool. That tool I was just using right there. My friend Mike, who draws supernormal stuff, is actually the artist who introduced me to Manga Studio in the first place. And we were talking one time, and I was like, "Man, I'm having so many problems drawing this one character's hair. He has like these big long spikes that come out of the top of his head." And he was like, "Oh, well, there's a curve tool that can help with that." And I was like, "Not, because like, I've always dreamed of something like that, and oh, it's made my life so much easier." That's not to say I don't, ink a lot of, I don't know. I always feel like I'm cheating. Like I have to come in and say, but I swear to God, I still ink things and, you know. This is so fun. I actually really like inking. I used to hate it. I just didn't really have like a good way to do it on the computer and make it look nice, and then I got Manga Studio. And now inking is usually really fast. Let's see here. The only thing with the curve tool is, so far, I've found that you can't taper the ends, and so I just do it manually with my eraser. And it also gives you really even lines, so it's best to like go back over them a little bit so they don't look so even. If I could get a better angle here. It feels so strange to draw Roger's hair like this. Like it's gotten a little rougher looking over the last chapter or so, and the implication is that he's becoming more part of this organization, this bad guy group, and it just feels strange to draw him like that. So now I've made a new layer and I turned it blue just so that I can see what I'm doing here. It's not to say you can't draw on the blue layer, I guess. I should have said that, like, turning it blue doesn't lock it or anything, or, like, change any properties of the layer. It literally just, and I mean, I can change that to any color I want. I can, you know, there's the whole palette. It just defaults to blue. Because it's handy. Handy dandy. Okay. And at least a little bit of this panel is shared down below, so I'm just going to, actually before I do that, I want to ink the door. So there's kind of like a comic no-no where you don't want to have vertical or horizontal lines cutting through your panels. Just because of the way I color and stuff, I feel like I can get around that a little bit, though I try not to do it. It also helps that my character's head is kind of breaking up the panel a little bit. So that little line right there is just so that I have like a little bit of a highlight that's sort of escaping all this black that I'm about to make. Oops, forgot to close that. Just like that. But now, I think when I go to color that, see like, one sec. Okay, see how this is like black in there? It kind of looks like you're looking through his hair to the black behind the door. So I think when I color that, I'm going to actually make that like, his hair is like a blonde, it's blonde on the top and orange on the bottom. So I think I'm gonna kind of color this little black part here to match like the darker tones in his hair rather than be black. I just did that because it's easier. Fills in nice. Okay. Just clean it up a little bit there. Alrighty, alright, so I'm gonna steal this. I had a, oh yeah, that's right. I figured out, it's a little different than Photoshop. If you hold down Shift and the arrow, you can like move stuff straight up and down, which I didn't know you could do that because of my smartness. Okay. And then we're going to I'm just thinking here about that damn door. Well, I'm going to turn that layer off for now, and I'm going to make a new layer and just ink the new head, and then go from there. Okay, cool. Just check the time. About halfway done here. I've been trying to give a little more curve to his like crop top hair here. I don't know what you call these little things. I've always called them doinks, but they're like, it's like where the hair parts and it like sticks up a little or whatever. It's, I don't know, it's kind of an 80s cartoon thing. I haven't seen it so much lately in designs, but I don't know. I felt the need to suddenly defend it. Uh, but my humans always have two and my aliens always have one. I don't know. It's just like a little thing I did to differentiate them in the beginning. Just a little way. But I think all my human characters have them. I'm trying to think of one that doesn't. So, yeah, he's got them. Glasner's got them. His is actually in the front, like Dawn's. My other character, Dawn, has them in the front. Yeah, in fact, the only characters I can think of that don't have them might be the Nordics. I have to go look at their designs. I haven't looked at them in a while. Which shows how much I care about them. I really don't care about the Nordics. I feel bad saying that, but I kind of find them to be boring aliens because they just look human for the most part with like fancy hair, bad attitudes. I make them really like self-centered, self-serving kind of aliens. It's weird because so folks that aren't like really into ufology, Nordics, the Nordic alien species is usually portrayed as kind of like the most human in not only appearance but kind of like behavior, where they have like the most quote unquote human emotions and they're really benevolent and they sort of what's a good word, like they epitomize all the wonderful things about humans, you know, love and kindness and all that. So like whenever people are abducted by them, in fact, abductees whose only experiences are with Nordics tend to get a little, I wouldn't say upset, but they don't like to use the word abducted when it comes to Nordics. Even though Nordics do take people against their will, they always use the word contacted. They are contactees, not abductees, so that's like the big difference with them. But in trying human, I kind of go the opposite route, where the traditionally like mean or evil alien species are kind of like, they're not really great, but they're not, they have like human-esque qualities, even the Greys, which are emotionalists. They have a sort of decent reason for doing what they do, which is not a reason I made up. I took it right from the literature. I just framed it, I think, in a slightly nicer way, where they're like trying to save their species and stuff. But then I kind of flip things around, where like the Nordics, I wouldn't say they're cruel or mean. They're just kind of like not interested in helping humans, and you know, save for like their own benefit, where they want to appear, I wouldn't say a godlike to them, but they want to be revered by humans and kind of lead humans away from their quote unquote like lowly tribal stage or whatever, which I think is so like not cool. But they kind of like want to swoop in and like save humans, but not from like war or famine or anything, but like almost like culturally from like save them from themselves. Like, you know, like when you really like a song and somebody is like, "Oh, this song sucks. Let me show you what real music is," and you know, I don't know, they play like Eminem or something. And that's kind of what the Nordics are like, where they just feel like they know better than humans. They are the better human, if you will, because they kind of are human. They're just like, they're kind of both in ufology and in Trying Human. They're taller, they're sleeker, they're like the Cadillac of humans or something, you know, they're supposed to be like the better, the more beautiful. And I always thought that was so like, I don't know, of all the alien species, if I had to doubt one existed, I would say it was the Nordics, because they just are like that quote unquote perfect human, you know, they're like kind of the Adonis, or like um the angelic human or something, you know, like it's just so even like as a contactee, like if I was gonna like just, or an abductee, if I was just gonna bullshit a story about aliens, like a good story, I'd be like, oh well, these super awesome, beautiful, blonde-haired, blue-eyed white people took me and gave me candy and said I was gonna save everybody. And you know, like if I had to make up a story, that would be the, you know, I wouldn't want to be like, oh, these horrible bug-eyed aliens took me and did awful things to me, you know. If I had to make one up, I'd be more inclined to make up that some beautiful alien species took me and told me how special and awesome I was and that I was going to save everybody. Um, I was going somewhere with this story. But I don't know, like there's nothing about the contactee movement that's any less I use the word movement because it kind of came around in like the late 50s up into the 70s, you know, um people were claiming contact with the humanoid aliens. And then, I don't know, that kind of slowed down. I didn't really, you know, like in the literature, you don't really read about it too much after that time period, though you could say, like, some angelic or ghostly appearances that people, you know, people just, who have claimed they've met angels or what have you, they sort of describe a Nordic-like figure a lot of times, so you could argue that those experiences and throughout history and whatever are, you know, some of those could be, I don't know, the others could be angels. I don't know. I'm not here really to argue one way or the other, but um, I'm having a moment here. He's a military guy. He's really nice. I've never had the chance to meet him, but he often speaks out about stuff he witnessed allegedly when he worked at bases and things like that. And he said that one of the types he had contact with was Nordic type aliens, like humanoid aliens that I don't know if he claimed they worked for the government, but he saw them, you know, around, and that they were so human looking that, you know, they could like walk through a crowd and you'd never notice. By the way, please don't like comment on this video and be like, well, you know, aliens is stupid, they're not real, or they are real. That's like really the point of when I talk about this stuff. I don't know why, but people like to argue me one way or the other about it, and I don't know why. I'm not going to be utterly convicted one way or the other. I just think it's a super fun topic. I don't know, it's just obsessed me since I was a little kid, and I have like, oh my gosh, probably like 50, 40 plus books. I'll go one lower. But it kind of irks me a little bit because nobody ever, oops, you know, like, I don't know. It's sort of, I guess the reason it sort of irks me when people like try to argue me about this stuff is like, no. Is that like I always use the example of like Harry Potter. Like nobody ever tries to argue the mythos of Harry Potter like in its realness. Like when and that was something that I wanted to be clear about with Trying Human, was that Trying Human is not like taking this position of realness versus not realness of the UFO phenomenon. Like I'm not trying to push a what's a good word? Whenever I'm drawing, I have trouble thinking of what I want to say. I'm not trying to push an agenda. There we go. With Trying Human, like I'm not trying to be like, oh, you must believe in aliens; they are real, or don't believe in aliens is bullshit. That would be kind of hard to push that message in Trying Human. Just because in Trying Human, it's not even like really a question. It's not, you know, like whenever I watch like UFO stuff, like stuff about alien abductions, like fictional stuff, you know, like movies and comic books and stuff. Like one of the big plot points I see over and over in alien stuff is it real? Is it not real? Like they put this like heavy mystery on it, and I'm like just say it's real or not real, and then get to your point. Like it's been done so many times now that it like bores me. I don't. You know, the closest film I ever saw to just like getting around that was that Signs? And Signs isn't even like a movie about aliens. I know everybody likes to argue, oh, it's aliens. No, it's a movie about faith and belief, which I think is actually an amazing message to put in with aliens. And it really, you know, you can argue left, right, and center about how the script is written and stuff like that, but man, I'm really harping on you guys today about aliens. For some reason, I don't really get too passionate about anything else, so take it or leave it. But yeah, you can argue about how, you know, M. Night as a director or whatever, to the cows come home. I understand that, but I actually think it's really clever because, you know, it's clever to put that message in with aliens because belief is in itself is such an interesting thing, and it actually inspired me to make one of my characters really religious. I have like a really Christian, well, she's Catholic, but she's Christian. She's a really Christian character, and her belief has never faltered in God or Christ or anything like that, but that whole idea of, you know, believing in something bigger and beyond you, whether it be, you know, like aliens or, you know, the mystery of nature or aliens and stuff, I find that all to be like really interesting. But the other point I was trying to make there before I got off on a really weird tangent was that I get like tired of films and books and stuff where they're like, oh, are aliens real or not? Let's try to solve this mystery in 2.5 hours. And then they solve it at the end, and I'm like, okay, now what are we gonna do? And then it's over. We're not doing anything with that apparently. So like in the first chapter, Trying Human, I'm just like, oh, aliens are real. Okay, on with the story. So like, yeah, that's pretty much how I feel about that. But there we go. That is that page done. Ugh, I hate how flat the back of his head looks. Blech. Oh well, I'm just gonna go with it. Okay. I need to save this and go back into Photoshop and color it and be beautiful and update and do all the things. Alright, I'll see you guys later. Bye!